ages today because I'm still quite tired. But I just need to set the stream up on the PC end because, as I've said lots of times, you can't get the settings to completely save on a mobile stream the same as a PC stream, so you have to manually edit it every time. Because, you know, that's a useful feature, isn't it? Right, there we go. That should be... I do pop-out chat now. Then go to a white screen. Then put the pop-out chat roughly where my phone is, so I'm looking mostly forwards. And if some people come on, I can chat with them that way. I'll move this a bit closer so you can see that a bit better. There you go. So this is that Korean K3 mask. It's very much, like I said, an Avon sort of C50 ripoff. It's got the same straps as the C50, basically. It's the same face shape as the C50, just got not got a panoramic lens. It's got these sort of cheap and nasty plastic lenses, as I said in the video on it earlier. Because from certain angles, you can see they're quite scratched, some of these lenses, even though this was new in its bag. Like that particular lens there. PMG filter port. I don't, when you say black stuff, do you mean like dirt? You could probably clean it out with soapy water, but the PMG will just crumble apart over time because it's rubber. Oh, that's cool, Alexander. But yeah, really, there's not much I can recommend. You could put a new washer in it if you wanted it to make a better seal that way. But yeah, the rubber on the PMG will just start crumbling away with time, because the problem with the PMG's filter port is obviously it's a rubber filter port rather than it being made out of metal or whatever. So it's going to wear away a lot faster than the metal threaded one with just a rubber O-ring in it. So yeah, like I said, this mask isn't too bad. It's just a shame that the lens is on this fillet. So
I might see if I can get the top straps adjusted a bit tighter, because annoyingly you can't seem to do these top straps with the mask on. They seem to be straps you have to loosen the sort of mask first. Or is that made looser like that? I can't actually tell. Yeah, it's a weird top strap system on this mask. It's essentially Velcro. Just pull it as much through that way as I can until it lets me reclasp the Velcro like that. Okay. Let's do the same again with this other one. Like I said, it's a bit of a weird strap system for the top straps. It's kind of copying the C50 and M50, but not as well. And again, that top strap has the advantage that they're let's see, like it's got the the plastic is shattering off of that. So there we go. That plastic is crap on there. That is a bit of that has just snapped off. So yeah, I would not rate the plastic they used for this cover. Luckily, that isn't actually mechanically needed. So yeah, that's just snapped off. Look. So yeah, the cover there isn't needed to keep the mask being airtight. So that at least is good. But yeah, not a good sign for your mask's durability if the plastic is literally coming away like a French ARFA. So yeah, I would not say it's a good quality drinking tube. Does move with that. Yeah, that isn't a good quality cover, because do I sell AKs? No, I don't. Firstly, I'm in a country where you can't even legally own an AK other than a deactivated one. So no. So yeah, that is obviously way cheaper, nastier plastic than the as you can see, the M50 and the C50 use, because that is snapped off. So yeah, that was clearly just very brittle plastic they made that cover from. That other bit of plastic feels better, so I don't know if it was just the bit that flaps open and closed, if they used way cheaper plastic for that. but luckily that isn't an airtight connector as far as I'm aware. That's just for like a comms connector on it. All right, Rich? When you say do you mean are you a prepper? The answer, not really. Like, I have stuff that would be useful as a prepper, but I'm not actually a prepper first and foremost. Yeah, like I said, the main problem with this one as well is that as well as that brittle plastic there, the lenses are quite cheap plastic. Let's see if there's a stamp on it, Kelly, because it was still sealed when I opened it in its like foil bag. I'm assuming somewhere there will be a date stamp on this. Obviously, there's the big M stamp for medium. The harness doesn't have any dates on it. But this is a mask still in production as far as I'm aware. It might be one of those annoying masks that has something inside in a weird place, like under... So I'll have a look in there for you. Yes. I can see that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It says 1. Okay, that's not a date thing. Whoops. Sorry, I thought that was going to be a date thing there. But it might be, to answer your question, that I can't find a date stamp on here. Oh, there's another one of those there. But again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. So it doesn't actually say a year on that. Unless that means 2025, but that would mean it was a brand new mask. Because it's got 2 on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got a dot on the 2. So maybe that means 2022. I have no clue. But which one's the C7? Because Canada only went up to the C4. All right, unknown. No, I've not been in the military. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, like I was saying, that is very cheap plastic on there because that's snapped off just literally while I was showing it just now. And the eyepieces are, like I said, not a good quality plastic. They're quite clear, but as you can see, there's big gouges already, even though that was factory sealed. Oh, I've got the annoyingly, it's doing that top chat, live chat thing, right? But yes, the answer to that is I have no clue what year it is because it doesn't use a standard just dating system. But yeah, this is like this is a South Korean K3, so basically the South Korean sort of rip-off of the C50 M50 with not a panoramic lens on it. The drinking tube connector is quite similar to the Avon one, but I haven't tested that yet on a water bottle to see if it is an Avon connector or not on it. South Korea. This is a South Korean K3, like I just said. So, yeah, South Korean K3.
Turn that really bright light off now. Like I said, the actual rubber is comfortable. But yeah, so yeah, that is still airtight, thankfully. So that radio comms bit, a bit like on the C50, doesn't actually, if the cover's not on there, doesn't make an airtight problem. But yeah, I could test it with the I've already done a video on it today, but yeah, I can just do this, but yeah, that, like I said, it seals absolutely fine. There's no problem there. It's just like I said, that annoying sort of cheap plastic lenses that are scratched on it. Yeah, I definitely recommend the C50 over this. I'd say the rubber's a bit more comfortable than the C50. But like I said, the lenses was scratched when it was brand new in the packaging. And that plastic bit has shattered off without me putting any force on it. So it's obviously fairly cheap and nasty plastic used on this, which isn't something, if you've got something that will save your life, potentially you want them to cheap out on plastics.
If you're on about the M10 mask, that's not Czech Republic, that's old Czechoslovakia. No, not in LA, I'm in Britain. I was in Germany for a couple of weeks recently, so yeah, I'm only just back home. But no, yeah, in LA it's kicking off a bit, isn't it? Trump, send in the Guard, send the National Guard. With this one, I mean, they're not broken, so I don't need to, but in theory, they look like they're glued into me. So if you found replacement lenses, I think these are ones where they've essentially just sandwiched the lenses together with glue. So, you know, like there's an outer bit of the lens and the inner bit of the lens and the rubber of the mask in between, and they've just slapped loads of glue on it to make it airtight. Because the glue job inside looks a bit iffy on there as well. Not like it's going to come off, but, you know, it's not one of those really, you know, not one of those really well, what's the word for it? Like, you know, where the workmanship on some masks, the glue is done much better than this, basically, where, you know, on some masks, they really even out the glue and all the trimmings, that sort of thing, where this is one of those ones I think you'd probably get a lot of, like, glue residue. And then, like I was saying, it's one of the current South Korean masks, but I don't think their military uses this. I think this is like South Korean police and for export, the K3. It's, like I said, it's not cheap and nasty, but there's a couple of bits on it, like the lenses and the plastic that was on that cover. This bit of plastic seems fine, but that plastic flap there is shattered off. So it seems like one of those masks where it's overall fairly good, but there's some bits where they've probably cheaped out on components and, you know, not as good components. So, like I said, the rubber on this feels really good and stuff like that. But yeah, the drinking tube I've not tested yet, so I don't know how good the drinking tube is, but it's not leaking air through the drinking tube. The VPU looks like it's pretty much an identical kind of thing that the Avon M50 C50s one would work with. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of like somebody's got a Forshida F2 at the top and then copied a C50 at the bottom. But yeah, it's not as good as either one of those masks, I'd say. Now, have I still got the seems to be handy. This also reminds me of these Chinese ones, like the FMJ09 and some of the more modern Chinese masks. But again, it's because they're ripping off the oh, there went something. MF14. Yeah, definitely better than the 190. But yeah, oh well, the Forshida is not easily accessible at the moment. It's probably buried further back on there with all the other masks that are on there. But yeah, like I was saying, it's weird because the rubber doesn't feel bad quality on this at all. But it's probably over 150 unknown. I don't know why Soviet Gaming keeps asking me to do a really big smile. It's a bit weird. But yeah, like I said, this is one I was just lucky enough that was put in touch with somebody who could actually get it shipped to me. But yeah, like I said, it's South Korea is definitely good at their smartphones and TVs and stuff like that. Their gas masks, I think it was a K1 I tried before for a video and didn't own a K1. And the K1 was kind of meh as well. Like the South Korean masks are a bit like the modern Czech ones, in my opinion, where they're not awful, but they're not great, you know. Well, the problem is Chuckles the Clown. It takes up a lot of room. That's part of the problem. Yeah, there's another splintery bit of plastic there. Look, oop, there goes another bit of plastic off of that. So yeah, like I was saying, they definitely put quite cheap and nasty plastic on this, you can hear it rattling there, on this sort of cover. Yeah, there we go. There's a shard of plastic from it. So yeah, that must have been the hinge, that bit. Yeah, I reckon that was the hinge. Because I reckon when this was intact, yeah, that would have been the hinge, that bit. But there's other people that do gas mask content as well. But yeah, so like I said, it's just that stuff they made the hinge out of that's a really bad quality plastic. There's another bit of it removed. That might be all of it now, though. Because like I said, that was the bit that was sort of just shattering off. All the rest of that doesn't seem flimsy, so I don't know why that particular bit where they had the hinge system is all really broken. Mostly this room. Yeah, I literally just answered that unknown. So yeah. Anyway, interesting mask to have another look at. That is an Avon filter, by the way, on there. But yeah, not great, not terrible. It's like I say, in one of those masks where, you know, I don't know why they didn't just go for slightly more expensive plastic and lenses. That's definitely the sort of mask I would not want to take airsofting. Like, it does feel to me like those lenses are probably going to be ones a BB would shatter, or a couple of BBs would shatter. Because again, while it was still in the packaging and the foil bag it was in didn't have any splits in it, but it still somehow got those scratches inside a foil bag. That probably means that, yeah, the you know, like the anti-scratch material on it's a bit crap. If just the bag being pushed up against stuff in transit gouged the lenses like that. Yeah, I won't be on ages tonight, just because, like I said, I've been away for 2 weeks. Yesterday was the first day I was fully back in the UK. I'm still getting used, although again it was only an hour's time zone different. I've had a lot of early starts and late nights while I was away, so I'm still kind of, you know, getting back into the swing of regular UK time, if you like, of waking up at a set time, going to bed at a certain time. Because when I was away, it was basically dictated by when I had to get up for doing stuff in Germany. Mostly Germany. I was in Belgium and Holland for a day or so. Very briefly in Austria, but that was literally because the driver could take a shortcut going out of Germany into Austria and then back into Germany again. It was faster than traveling down some of the roads in Germany. Yeah, good. I took loads and loads of pictures, which I might edit into some of the videos. I'd love it if you could donate that, but I doubt you actually could, or I doubt you should either, because unless you're somebody that is really, really rich and you've got more money to know what you do with, then you're probably not in a position to do that. But if you did want to do that for whatever reason, there is a Ko-fi link, I think, in the description of nearly every video. You can also do YouTube super chats, that sort of thing. But bear in mind, obviously, you can't bribe me with that, so you can't say, oh, here's a load of money, now make loads of videos on X subject, kind of thing. I don't do that on purpose, because again, I get kind of weird sponsorship offers as well, like a lot of channels do. But the reason I don't do sponsorships is because of how many of those YouTube sponsors have turned out to be, you know, really dodgy things. Because there are actual like videos you can watch on all this, but there's so many YouTube sponsor things that, you know, loads of YouTubers promoted because they were paid to do it, that ended up being either scams or really bad services. So I didn't end up, you know, I basically never accepted any of those sponsorships because I've not wanted to risk, you know, shilling a product, if you like. No, Holiday Chuckles the Clown. Holiday, like actual proper holiday. Thank you very much, Unknown. Appreciate that. Cheers. Oh, I can actually click like on your thing. Hang on. Where's my mouse gone? There it is. Thank you very much. Oh, I can click a heart as well. Cheers. I do appreciate that, because obviously shit like this does cost me money. But yeah, no, it was a holiday. It's the first foreign holiday I've been on since before COVID. I think the last time I went away into a foreign country was 2017, because obviously all the COVID stuff happened. Then, like, my passport expired during COVID, and I didn't, bother renewing my passport then until all the travel restrictions were lifted. And it was only recently that, like, my dad wanted to go away on holiday again. So I was like, yeah, probably go away. So I renewed all my passport and that sort of stuff. Also getting the time off work, because the problem is, obviously, if you want to go on a foreign holiday where you're booked off for a couple of weeks, you need to get approval, because the problem is with a lot of jobs, you can often get a single, like, weekend or week off, but they don't like giving you several weeks in one go. So it was quite, again, sometimes it can be a bit difficult getting a holiday, a set of holiday days off, so you can then book something. Because there were some other holidays I was interested in doing, but I couldn't get the days for those. So, yeah, I've been around the UK a few times since, like I say, in 2017, but yeah, this is the first time I've been actually out the country properly, needing a passport and everything. So, yeah, there was ferry from Dover to Calais on the way in, and ferry back from from Dunkirk to Dover. Then first night in Belgium, then all the way down to Munich for the next couple of nights, then Nuremberg. Where was after Nuremberg? Berlin for 4 nights. And then after Berlin, where were the last couple of days after Berlin? I have a feeling one of the ones is near Hamburg. Yeah, it was near Hamburg. Yeah, Hamburg, and then Netherlands for the last day before the ferry. And the Netherlands was that weird hotel room where they had a glass wall in the toilet, which was just weird. Because, like I said, it was an exterior glass wall, like an outside window. It was inside the room. There was a blind you could put up and down in front of the window, so you could watch people shit and shower. It was a bit weird. I don't know why you design. I'm from the UK, yes, England specifically, because obviously the UK is England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and there's all the little islands as well. But and with Ireland, it's Northern Ireland, because Republic of Ireland's its own country. But yeah, so like I said, that was a weird thing. The Munster Tank Museum was really good, especially because there was actually that leopard one they let you climb inside there. What has it started melting already? Just a monkey. There's not much you can do with the M1 if it is starting to deteriorate, because the M1 and maybe the M2, I'm not sure of the M2, were made from a kind of weird cheap rubber that was probably fine, like when Tito's government made it at the time, but it was never designed to last as long as it did. So it's one of those rubbers where the compounds can just start breaking down inside the rubber over time, and the mask can just kind of melt on itself. Yeah, there's a video from inside the leopard, Chuckles the Clown. So it's only one leopard ones you can do that with, but in an outside area, they have like some almost like aeroplane steps going up to the side of a leopard, and then they've got a ladder mounted in the commander's hatch so you can climb down into it. I did stick a YouTube short up on that. I stuck one up, and then YouTube for some reason cut it in half, so I stuck it up again with the entire video. But yeah, so in that one you can obviously climb. They don't have all the seats and that in it. I mean, if you keep it out of the sunlight, it's not going to hurt it. But yeah, like I said, I think the problem is with the Yugo M1 is it's going to be one of those masks that when the rubber does start going, there's not much you can do. Because I have heard some people say that, they've kept them in an airtight container or whatever, and then, like 1 month it was fine. Whenever they next opened it, the mask had just kind of turned into goop, essentially. So, mine haven't actually fallen apart with any of my Yugo masks, so I've been quite lucky, but I know they are ones that are notorious for that. If you've just got a bit of dry rot in there, though, you could potentially use silicone lubricant on that. But again, when you say a white spot, I don't know if it's dry rot or, damage to the rubber, or the rubber is starting to give out on itself. Yeah, I was hoping they'd have a Shulker at that Munster Museum, but they didn't. They had a Gepard, so they had the Flak Panzer Gepard, which is great. In Bovington, there's a couple of tanks that they've kind of got open doors in where you can climb in the side. You can't like get everywhere in the tank. There definitely wasn't one with a Challenger when I was there, but there was some of the World War One tanks. They had the thing where there were like little booths you were allowed in inside the tank, if that made sense. So like they'd have a stairway going to a side door of the tank, and then they'd have like that plastic kind of shielding stuff around, so you could just stand or sit in like one little area of it, you know, and not clamber all over the inside of it. But when I was there, I don't think recently anyway, I don't know if there's others they have on display sometimes, then off display, where you could like climb in, because I have been to like army open days when I was really young, and they let you sit inside, you know, like I don't know what at the time it was it a Challenger, was it, you know, just an armored vehicle like a Warrior or an FV4 302, whatever they are, like a Spartan or a Scimitar or whatever. Because I can remember when I was quite a young kid, they had like an army thing on it, like some village fete or town fete thing, and there was a thing where like you could line up and like a soldier would plonk you down on one of the seats in an armored vehicle for like a minute, and then, you know, the next kid in the line would do it. Yeah, it was about 15 years or so ago, Chuckles, I went the first time. Then recently, yeah, it was this year I went. But yeah, regarding that, there's definitely World War One tanks where they've kind of, like I said, got a little bit you can go in through them, but I can't remember any more modern tanks with that. And I know in the RAF Hendon Museum, I think it's Hendon, you can walk through the Catalina or whatever it is, flying boat. Like they've got a section you can walk through of that. But yeah, nearly all the museums I've been to, sadly, they don't let you actually go in any of the stuff. Like it's so basically people don't destroy the insides. But Scared German likes a GP5. I don't think this is actually a GP5. I think this is a Shum 41. But there you go. There's one. Ah, yeah, Tigerfest. They had the Sturm Tiger at the Monster Tank Museum, and the Sturm Tiger is fucking huge. That one with that huge kind of like anti-building mortar sort of thing. Like seeing one in person is crazy, because like obviously the King Tiger is bigger in probably full dimensions, but the Sturm Tiger is just insane in terms of how big the gun is. One of the Chinese ones, I did a video on this, so it's not the old Soviet coffee can that's dodging to breathe through. It's just a modern Chinese one.
That would help me breathe, wouldn't it, taking that off? But yeah, it's just one of the Chinese coffee can filters.
Smaller than the Soviet ones, both width-wise and height-wise. When I that's all right, Chuckles. Like I said, you can probably Google which museums have bits you can go in and not go in. But yeah, so like I said, these Chinese filters are pretty good if you just want a modern GOST filter. That, you know, if you want to cosplay with a mask or use one of these Soviet masks, you know they're safe. But you know, sadly they are a little bit smaller than the actual old EO16 filters. Size comparison. Like I said, they are smaller, but still cool. Right. Yeah, most of my masks I actually have for use. I don't have the filters plugged. I have like a sealed filter potentially, you know, near the mask. But yeah, with that one, it was because last time I obviously put it away, I just put the plug in. And I know I could have just taken the mask off and done it, but it's all right. You can hold your breath for a minute. But as long as you know what you're doing, you don't have to worry too much if you put a mask on, you can't breathe, because you do have easily enough time to, you know, pull the tab back out. But yeah, that was, I think it was during Desert Storm, Gulf War. That was it. Israeli civilians died. There was something like that. One of the countries nearby issued gas masks to civilians in case of like Scud gas attacks. And because the civilians weren't trained properly in donning the masks and, you know, the filters, they still had the filters sealed, but then they were worried that the reason they couldn't breathe was because they were getting gassed. So they didn't, take the masks off to look at the filters properly and work out. So essentially people died through gas mask suffocation without thing, which is, I think, now why a lot of countries, if they do issue gas masks to civilians now, give them a quick thing of like, make sure you unplug the filter before you try and breathe through it, kind of thing. Not yeah, it's fine, just just bung it on your face and you'll be all right. Because obviously the older World War II filters didn't have like covers on the end of them. They were just designed to be, because the problem is obviously that means they'll expire faster, but they did, those old World War II ones weren't really sealed up for a civilian. They were just kind of ready to go in a bag. Yeah, but again, that's why people are meant to be trained for those sort of things, rather than just being given one by a government agency that then says, yeah, wear this, you'll be all right. So yeah, what have I got to still do videos on? I got some more North Korean snacks sent to me, so I can okay, yeah, like I said, when I went to Germany, I was full on doing stuff every day. So stuff I didn't see, I wouldn't have had time to see. Basically, it was one of those sort of holidays where, like I said, it wasn't a relaxing one. It was one of those holidays where up very early most mornings to get a lot of traveling and attractions done, if you like, and then going to bed quite late. So it was one of those sort of like I said, it wasn't like one of those holidays you go, oh, I feel really relaxed. It was like really good, and I got loads and loads of history stuff seen, which was great. But it definitely was one of those holidays where at the same time I'm now like, oh, that's really tiring. I'm glad, because I specifically booked this weekend off of work, either in case I was delayed getting back and then missed shifts, or or I thought I might be absolutely shattered, and absolutely shattered is definitely the one it ended up being. Yeah, because there wasn't a gas attack non-stop. They were just I think regular explosive scuds, but when the air raid siren went off, obviously some people put their gas masks on without taking the filter off. Yeah, exactly. Definitely enjoyed it. Definitely thought it was really worthwhile doing. eBay and Etsy, you can get masks on easily, so you should be able to find a GP4 on eBay or Etsy. I know there's a communist Polish mask that's like the GP4, but actually a bit better and normally cheaper. But I can never remember the name of the mask without looking it up each time. I've done a video on it before. But it's like the GP4, just like made from a better rubber, because it's not a Soviet GP4. It's not worth as much. Let me just look up on my own videos what this mask is called. Right, Devonshire Militaria. I am going to, where my mouse is, Polish GP4 gas mask, because it has a specific name. MTC or something like that. Maska Taipu Chiwuenigo or something. But there's also, is it the Polish ML, which is similar? Yeah, the Polish ML is the one I'm thinking of. Maska Ludogwa or something, People's Masks, is a delivered straight line for GP4U. It's, so there's, if you want to get a GP4U and for you, and you wanted to get one cheaper, you could probably get a Polish ML, which is very much like a Soviet GP4, but it's cheaper, basically. Oh, when you said the C7, sorry, do you mean the old British C7 civilian respirator? The ML. So search Mike. I'm trying to think what L is now in the Lima. Mike Lima. Search Mike Lima. Polish Mike Lima mask. Let's just see if I can find any on eBay. But that's basically the Polish version of the GP4U. Polish ML gas mask. Are there any on eBay? Not currently seeing any on eBay. If I search Polish, let's just search Soviet GP4 gas mask on eBay. Is there any of those on eBay? Oh yeah, there's some GP4s for $35 to $50, 35 to £50 dollars on yeah, quite a few on eBay. So yeah, you could just literally get a standard one on eBay. So yeah, that surprised me, because normally it's harder to find the GP4s than it was at one point the Polish kind of version of the MP4, GP4 even. Oh, I'm getting all the names confused now. Something like that, WGH. But yeah, I was just looking it up, and one of them was the predecessor to the other one. Anyway, what else was I going to just say then? Yeah, the British C7. If it's somebody that's just selling one because they want to sell it, it might not be a scam, because quite often you can get masks like that way cheaper than you'd expect. Because sometimes people have one for ages, keep trying to sell it for shitloads of money, and then eventually realize, you know, nobody's interested in it at whatever price. So they might just be putting it, you know, cheaper in price for that reason. But yeah, speaking of the C7, funnily enough, I do actually have one in this room, but this is actually in a little box just to the side. So yeah. So you're on about this thing, C7. Not a very good mask by any means. Don't breathe through the old filter. But yeah, like I said, they are very rare masks, but they're not really worth anything, in the sense that they only have collector's value, not actual practical value. Because like I said, these are interesting because the British government started mass producing them, and then decided that people's lives weren't worth the money of making the mask. So they basically record all of them to recycle them, you know, destroy them, whatever. So you only really see these when people didn't send them back for a bit of money. There are also some weird ones that have S10 filters taped to them, used by the British Atomic Industries, where they were obviously really cheap and didn't want to issue their staff proper gas masks. So they're like, oh, we've got these old shitty, like, 50s civilian masks, tape a new filter to it, done. Hungarian masks. I have got, funnily enough, the PMG that was down here is the Hungarian 70M or whatever it is. So this isn't the Soviet PMG, this is the Hungarian variant, which again is very similar. I've also got the, was it 75M or whatever it is, the one that looks a bit like a German World War II mask. But yeah, a lot of the time it's yeah, when you're on about prices of masks, a lot of the time it's just availability at the time. Because the first GP5 I bought was £20, and that was because I was ripped off and I didn't know much about gas masks at the time, and I bought it from an army surplus store. And then later on I found out I could have bought it with a satchel and everything else for like £5 to £10. You know, this is going back in the day when lots of masks were cheap. But yeah, as I've said quite a few times, Devonshire, I haven't bought any in a while because they're quite expensive now. And also, it's mostly just because I can't do stuff on YouTube with them. Like, I can do shorts and regular videos. But I've started some of those be demonetized, where YouTube's like, oh, you're showing a machine gun. You're not allowed to show machine guns on YouTube, even though they're deactivated. So again, a lot of the time it's more just because of how much they cost, and I can't really do much on YouTube with them. So it's not like I'm opposed to getting any more. It's just a problem of pricing and stuff like that, you know, where because I've not seen any particularly good prices for interesting kind of ones. Somebody's spamming said hi. All right, Hype, is that you as usual, just with a new name to Hyped? If you missed the bit at the start of the stream, the plastic little cover here is now fully snapped off, because that literally shattered into tiny little bits of plastic. So, yeah, that's gone. But yeah, thankfully that isn't needed for an airtight seal. The rest of the plastic seems all right. So I'm assuming with this that they just made the little plastic cover out of really flimsy, cheaper plastic than the rest of it. South Korea, not China, this mask. So, you know, hope. But saying that, a Samsung TV was one of the worst TVs I had, in terms of like the quality of the stand and like the plastic around the thing. Like, the TV itself was really good with the Samsung TV, but they really fucking cheaped out with, like, the plastic base and all that for it. Yeah, it's just a VPU ports cover. My M50's one, sorry, C50's one actually has a problem there as well. Not with broken plastic, but the C50 one is a really loose fit. So the C50, if you shake it, it always flaps open. This one, obviously, like I said, it just literally shattered into pieces because it was, you know, like that. But like I said, this, other than the gouges in the plastic and that bit, this is actually an all right mask. It's just some of the plasticky bits feel like they definitely cheaped out on this. But yeah, and I haven't tested this. It does look like an Avon tube. So I've not tested that yet, but it does look like the Avon drinking tube on there. So when I get round to testing it, I'll see if it fits on the same stuff the FM12 fits on. So I think that probably is just a one-to-one copy of the Avon drinking tube. I don't know about testing it. Oh, there's the Forshida right up the top that I was looking for earlier. Yeah, like I was saying earlier in this thing, though, this mask to me looks like they copied the top section of a Forshida F2A4, just not as well, because it's definitely cheaper, nastier lenses than what's on the Forshida. So yeah, again, the top bit and the straps look kind of like that, and then the bottom bit is a C50 they've cloned. So anyway, I'll try and get back to some comments before I go off. What thing hanging on the wall? There's over there behind the box of the Quest 2 or whatever it is. There's a Polish vehicle-based Geiger counter thing, but it doesn't have the probes put into it or the power cable. So that's like, you know, in a T55 or whatever, you'd have those mounted, or in a bunker. And then you have the probe goes off a really long wire that you can mount. It's like the equivalent of a Soviet DP3, but I actually prefer the DP3. The DP3 is an ionization chamber as well. Then you've got the toxic dump, just a little sign. You've got a kid's PDF gas mask there. You've got the Soviet PTM or whatever it's called, the PTM1, which is like a weird little canvasy dust sort of cotton fallout mask. You've got the MM1 there. You've got the Strela 2, deactivated Strela 2 hanging off of the mannequin there. And not too long ago, I showed the other PTM one I had that I had down here somewhere. That's probably got buried again now. Or is it that bit there? Yeah, no, there it's there. I can show you. So the PTM one is essentially this thing. That's another PTM one. This is a higher quality one than the white version. I think people were saying it was mostly all right. The voice diaphragm on it. I'll show it you on again just a second so you can hear what it sounds like. It does, though, do the thing a bit like some of the FM12s and CT12s, where it has the, like, blanking plug is also apparently a voice diaphragm on these, so that's a good feature. Somebody keeps saying Rule Britannia in the comments.
So that's what the voice diaphragms are like. Can't really hear myself, obviously, on camera if it's good or bad. Doesn't really seem bad. Like I said, the rubber on this isn't uncomfortable at all. The rubber's quite good quality, and the straps are pretty good as well. So this particular mask, other than the shitty bit of plastic there that was just snapped into like 5 pieces, and the eyepieces that obviously are very easy to scratch and potentially break, because even though the mask was sealed in packaging that hadn't been damaged, the eyepieces have been damaged. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a bad mask at all in terms of,
It's kind of just like one of those things like I complain about with some of the British stuff, where they cheap out on a couple of bits and therefore make what could have been a really good product kind of mediocre. But yeah, sound like an old radio. Well, you always sound muffled with gas mask on. I haven't done one with the rubber NBC suit, Eric, but I've done one with one of the not very breathable NBC6, and that was pretty horrible. Yeah, again, like I was saying, I don't know if it's a South Korean thing in general, but like I said, that was the problem I had with Samsung TV, was that the electronics in the TV were really good, but the actual stand was really cheap, horrible plastic. And I could never get that TV to actually sit straight without wedging a cigarette carton under one side of it, because it was one of those TVs where even when you got the plastic stand on as well as it would go, because they'd not factory, like cut the edges properly, it would still kind of do that a bit. So I had to get a cigarette box, put it under one side of the TV, and crumple it just enough so it evened out, like, spirit level evened out. I think that's the TV my dad now uses, because I have a Philips one, and Philips, being a Dutch company, do quite a good job of their TVs. I like Philips. I like a lot of Philips stuff. From the Netherlands, hello, your Philips. But yeah, so there's my plug for Philips. I generally like Philips, but yeah, I've got that. I can't show it on the stream Soviet Gaming because of all YouTube's policies, but I've got the rack machine pistol. It's the rack 63, not 39. Yes. Toshiba aren't too bad, or at least they never used to be. We've had Toshiba TVs years ago. Oh, so lucky gold star, not so lucky if it's in your pocket, batteries. I've never had an issue with like my PlayStation 5 or anything going on about Sony. But yeah, like I said, the South Korean gas masks, yeah, I've done a video on the GM38. I've got it down a while ago, so I can't get that handily out. But yeah, I have got a German GM38 in awful condition. But yeah, so like I said, my Samsung TV itself was really good. It was just that the stand for it was awful. And what I've done with this one, because the Philips one has a stand on each side, is I've got these metal little tables now that sit on my main table, so I can raise the TV up now, so I actually can see the TV without the keyboard and shit cluttering the bottom of the screen up, which is quite nice. Although it's not actually a Geiger counter, probably either the radio code 101, 102, or the other one, the measle, or however it's pronounced, measle. Those ones, because those are pretty damn good, as in they're good on battery life. You can set alarm thresholds on them. Like I said, there's a lot of features I like. The thing I'd obviously like with spectrometers is that they do give you a realistic dose based on what you're being exposed to, as opposed to a Geiger counter, just the more counts equals more radiation, which isn't always meaning more dose. Although I suppose for really heavily contaminated stuff, probably one of my really high-end ionization chambers. Can't mount it to the walls in this house, so you have a broken TV and a broken wall. Because annoyingly, these houses, the outside walls are good quality brick that's not going to be damaged easily. The inside walls are really shitty plasterboard stuff, so you can't really put anything with any weight whatsoever on these walls. Something like that Polish thing is about as much weight as you can actually have mounted on a wall. Because yeah, these are the sort of walls you get a hammer and you hit the wall like that, you'll put a hole in it. They're not good walls at all. So but yeah, like I said, yeah, especially like you're saying with the KC, it's because it's got the ability, like you're saying, to measure the alpha radiation as well, and the beta to some degree. Yeah, you because you got the pin detector in it as well, haven't you, as the crystal? So yeah, like I said, they'd actually be more versatile, I think, just because of the fact that yeah, you can cover most of your bases with it, and you get a better idea of thing. But again, the thing I do like with the radio code is the battery lasts ages in the radio code, because I was using it all around Germany to radiation map. And the radio codes are literally about the size of 2 fingers like that. You know, like that, the radio code 101. So it is tiny. You can fit it in nearly any pocket. Yeah, I did say I was on at 5, Rajiv, and I'm off in a minute. But yeah, so annoyingly, the better measle one you sent me, I can't remember where I've put that. It's somewhere in the house, but it's one where I last used that with a pair of headphones when I was doing the like clicking tests on it, and I've put it on the shelf now, and I have to obviously take everything off of some of the shelves to find where I've put it, because I probably just tucked it on a shelf like, oh yeah, I'll put this away properly later, tucked it away on a shelf, and now it's got buried on a shelf somewhere. I know my not as good measle one is, the earlier measle, but not the better measle. Sadly, modern Nokias aren't very good, because my mum bought a Nokia brick phone recently, like one of the newer model ones, and it's had so many issues with it, like compared to the older quality Nokia stuff, like their gas masks and you know, the Nokia M61s and the old Nokia phones. Sadly, modern Nokia is just nowhere near as good. Not really anywhere near me I could do it, though, unfortunately. I think if somebody lived in a more rural area, that would probably be a good idea. But yeah, the closest I could get to doing stalker stuff is going in a little patch of woods near me, which is kind of like semi-private property anyway, so you need to be a bit careful doing that. And also, there used to be a place you could kind of urbex, which I think is mostly torn down now. But I have got some MREs I want to get around to doing some videos on. Well, there was a comment held for review I've not looked at. I might have missed an important thing. View message. Potentially inappropriate messages. Got it. I want to view it, though. Yeah. Oh, it's the person that was wasting our time earlier. Yeah, bye. All right, M-I-O Infito, if I'm saying your... Yeah, no, it's earlier on, Rajiv, you were saying like, oh, I'll donate a load of money to you. And I was like, well, don't feel like you have to donate money to me. So it was like, I think one of those people who was wasting my time, because I was saying the whole thing like, you know, I don't accept donations if people want me to do sponsorship type things or whatever. And then, yeah, it's just one of those channels that comes on, I guess, to spam the chat. Sometimes you get slow burn trolls, or I think it's sometimes people with bad impulse controls. Shum 41s you can find pretty easily. Yeah. Let's have a look, see if there's any Shum 41s currently on eBay, because like I said, I'm not selling any of mine, but I bet there's a Shum 41 on eBay. If not, you could just buy a brand new Chinese mask that's basically a Shum 41. Oh, look, here we go. It says rare. It's not rare. Is this a proper Shum 41? Looks kind of a bit not like a Shum 41. Hang on. Give me a minute, and I will find one. Again, there's GP5s. GP5s are very similar to Shum 41s, but a bit different. Shum 41s just have the bigger sort of screw valve thing, don't they? Like the intake-outtake bit. But it used to be a lot of the time you'd get GP5s and Shum 41s sort of, you know, interchangeably using the same name. Oh, what I have found, I'm not going to bid on this, but somebody might want to bid on this if I can shorten the link, if I'm not breaking any YouTube policies by sort of recommending this. Let me just click the profile and then click back on the listing so I can get a shorter URL. Somebody is putting a bid on for a SHMS and a PMG, although again it might be a Hungarian M70, for £7.52. For Cookie, depends where you are for what counters I can recommend, because some things ship to certain places, some don't. Like I said, because that's a bid, obviously, where people are, that's not actually stupidly priced, because like I said, a lot of people now want £50 alone for a Shums. If you're in England, you can buy radio codes, like I was saying earlier, very easily. Radio codes are the Geiger counters / they're not Geiger counters, but spectrometer kind of little small things that you can also connect your phone and have it map on the phone and do alerts via the phone, but they work on their own fine. They cover basically lower than background levels of radiation to quite scary levels of radiation, but not doomsday levels. The other good thing with the radio codes is they don't seem to jam out at very high radiation. So even when it's higher doses and it can tell you what it is, it will still kind of warn you that it's overscale, because some meters kind of just brick themselves if the radiation level gets too high and they kind of report nothing. Radio codes don't do that. You can buy the GMC 800, which I've done a video on as well. You can literally buy those off Amazon and get them on Amazon Prime, and I think they're only about £100, and they're pretty damn good. They're just classic Geiger counters with a colour screen. Again, I wouldn't really recommend a lot of the surplus Geiger counters, just because they cost a lot more money now than a lot of the more modern electronic ones that you can buy brand new. And the older ones often, you know, are a lot heavier, harder to get replacement parts for. In terms of protecting your lungs and everything, you just want a mask with a good particle filter on it. I have no idea, because I've got a PS5, not a PS4. And PS Plus. What do you mean, ones that you can physically get the discs for? If so, anything you can physically get the discs for, I imagine. I mostly play stuff on PC. I've got a PS5, but I mostly use it for Demon Souls, the Demon Souls remake, Dreams, that one where people made their own little games. I have everything apart from the counter. Right. If I've got the GMC handy, if it's still on the desk somewhere, because it wasn't that long ago I saw it, but again, because I tidied my desk up, that could very well be something that's no longer on this desk. But that's the problem when I tidy stuff up and actually don't have my desk looking like a shit tip, is a lot of things like that aren't any longer where they were. But this isn't it, but this is a cheapish Chinese one that's all right. Other than the fact it doesn't tick, this one's all right. But yeah, I've got Helldivers still on PC though, not PS5. Yeah, it sounds good. Like I said, part of the thing with that as well, like you're saying, is that you want the uncontaminated water, don't you, and all that sort of stuff. Doom 64. Speaking of Doom 64, I started playing the remake. When I say remake, just it runs on a modern PC kind of one, the Night Dive version of Quake 1 earlier, because I hadn't played Quake 1 in ages. So I'm kind of tempted to play all of Quake 1 and the expansions, if I don't get pissed off with it. Do Quake 2, and then do Quake 4. I mean, I've got Quake 3, but I can't remember if Quake 3 is just like online only. Because what I think was funny, Rajiv, I think it must be I didn't start the first chapter, because in Quake 1, from what I understand now when I look this up, you can play different chapters in different orders, can't you? Because you select the difficulty by going down one of 3 corridors. Then, although you have to complete the 4 levels to fight the last, like, Lovecraftian monster boss, you can do the levels in any order, can't you? Like the worlds, whatever you want to call them, like E1, E2. So I think what I must have done when I first played Quake is not play them in the right order. Even I don't know if it's You know, don't really know if there is a right order, but yeah, so because I was watching some videos of Quave, I don't remember these being the first set of levels, and yeah, I think it must have been because E2 I think is directly forward to you on the left, whereas if you actually do E1 M1 like you're meant to, I think that's actually like a 90-degree angle to your left, so you're actually meant to turn your head like that. So yeah, so like I went through the wrong slip gate. Not that it really matters because like I said, you get similar enemy sets in all the levels and all that sort of thing. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a bloody great game. Really, really like Red Dead Redemption 2. Just a shame they abandoned the online with it. But yeah, Stronghold Crusader Remake Definitive Edition I'm really looking forward to, because the demo, I've already played quite a few hours in the demo, because it's got a bit of replayability in that demo, because they do let you customize the deathmatch mode a bit for a demo. So that's good. That's next month that comes out. What else was I looking forward to game-wise? Oh, I bought the new, when I say new, the different Elden Ring game, because that's like Elden Ring, kind of like a roguelike thing, isn't it? The other Elden Ring. So I've got that, but I haven't played much of it yet, because I played a bit, died twice, or whatever it is you have to die twice on to get kicked out of like the tutorial bit, and then I accidentally started a game where it put me with other people when I was trying to play it solo. So then I just quit out the game. It's like, you'll be penalised, but I don't want to fucking play with other people. I wanted to play it solo. So I'll try that again at some point. And actually, I looked up on the options where you have to change it all so it doesn't put you into things. But yeah, other than that, what is coming out this year that is interesting looking? Let me look at my Steam wish list. Hang on, because I use that to check where games are that most of my friends have been playing Schedule 1, but I've not really got an interest in that. Apparently Bloodlines 2 is this year, but again, we'll see if that's any good. Broken Arrow is an RTS game on my thing that might be interesting. Dungeon Warfare 3. I was playing a load of Dungeon Warfare 2 on my phone when I was in Germany, just to kill time on the bus. Cool, yeah, riot shields are good. As you can probably hear. I've got a few riot shields. Said riot shields are good fun. They're like I said, pretty actual practical. But yeah. What else is? Oh yeah, there's the next month. RoboCop Rogue City gets the DLC level. I've got one ballistic shield. I've got can't remember which room I've got it stored in. I don't think it's in this room, but I have got a I've got one of the Kevlar ballistic shields. So not the ones that will actually tank rifle bullets, but the ones that will probably stop some pistol rounds. So it's basically like having a Kevlar vest that's like that thick with, like, you know, a carrying arm behind it. But they are kind of impractical. Outer Worlds 2 apparently comes out this year. Gears of War Reloaded also comes out later this year, which is just another remaster of the original Gears of War, but this one actually has online back in it again, which should be good. Again, Gears of War 1 I like. The sequels to Gears of War I have no interest in. Again, there's a couple of games on my Steam wish list that are ones where they still don't know when they're releasing them. No, in the UK, for whatever reason, nightsticks and various kinds of batons are banned from civilian ownership. I've got some truncheons, because old-fashioned truncheons you're allowed, but not modern nightsticks. I don't get the logic of that, because obviously you can smash somebody's head in with either type. But so I've got old-fashioned police-style, like wooden truncheons like that. But the metal kind of nightsticks, you know, like the asp ones, whatever, no, because for whatever reason in the UK, the government threw a shit fit over them a while ago and made them, you know, like things you don't want to own in case you get fucked by the police kind of thing. Oh yeah, I saw a thing about Mafia: The Old Country. So is that set prior to World War II, isn't it? Like early 1900s or something, in Sicily or wherever. But I haven't seen much about it in the sense that I've not bothered looking up trailers or gameplay or whatever. So it's one of those ones that Mafia 1 I quite like. Mafia 2 I really liked, even though a lot of people didn't like Mafia 2 very much. Mafia 3 I played years after it came out, never finished it, but I actually quite liked it. But I just found it was one of those games where there was so much side content in it. I got distracted. Oh, cool, yeah. So it's set where you're from, so you find it interesting for that reason, yeah. I didn't even know there was a new Bond game. I mean, there's good, yeah. There's like GoldenEye, and the one I liked as well on PS2, Nightfire. That was good because Nightfire was quite a lot like GoldenEye. But they're the only two Bond games I've played. I haven't played any of the others. Again, RoboCop Rogue City, because the expansion for that, even though I want to play that, comes out 2 days after Stronghold Crusader. I'm not playing that when it first comes out. That's going to be one of those DLCs that I'll have to get bored with Stronghold before I buy that. Well, yeah, at some point I am going to obviously sell a load of them. But yeah, a lot of the time when I sell stuff like this, I just find somebody face-to-face that wants to buy them so they can look them over. We can agree on a price and then they can just buy them sold as seen. Because the problem with selling them online, as you know, lots of people know all this stuff, is you can often sell something and then somebody will later want a refund because, oh, it wasn't exactly like you described it. Where when you sell stuff in person, people, you know, will genuinely either want it or not. GTA 2 has the mission in it, doesn't it, where you get people ground up into hot dog meat. And I saw a good parody of that where it's got Putin as the monkey one of you need to go with your golf cart and pick up some Mobics from the field hospital to make some Mobic meat cubes. If I find that picture, I'll send it to you, Rajiv. But I don't have it handy. Yeah, there's a really dark mission in GTA 2 where you have to pick up people with a bus to take them to like a slaughterhouse for them to be made into hot dogs. A bit like in GTA 3 where they had the bitch and dog food factory where the people get ground up into dog food. But yeah, but there's a parody image of that where it's Vladimir Putin on about Mobic meat cubes, which is great. But I don't have the picture to hand, so it's not something I can easily send. It's just one of those ones I have to remember to send it when but again, Train Builder, there's loads of stuff like that where police are allowed certain things but civilians aren't. Right, I'll go off now anyway because I've been on over an hour and I thought I was going to fall asleep before then. So I'm going to watch the news and see if anything's set on fire yet in California, because Trump's sending the National Guard. But yeah, anyway, otherwise I should be on tomorrow for a stream and everything. All right, have a good evening, everyone. Goodbye.